Happy holidays, y'all! Welcome to the first video edition of the ElectoramaNews, covering December 2025, where I read the newsletter to you. This issue of ElectoramaNews provides a basic outline for future newsletters while sprinkling in some of the news from earlier in the year. It mainly focuses on online conversations. Future editions will hopefully focus more on movement progress toward policy changes. This edition highlights the Electorama Call, a new monthly video call for leaders in the electoral reform space, and provides an activity summary of prominent electoral reform forums. For example, the End FPTP subreddit. And now with the news. Section 1, the main feature is the Electorama Call itself. I hosted a video call, the Electorama Call, on December 17th with leaders in the electoral reform space. One product of that conversation was a goal to publish a monthly newsletter. We also resolved to have monthly conversations, which are currently slated for a similar time each month. More on this in a bit. The discussion at first was intended to have conversations similar to those in SAS's open democracy discussion, but at a different time of day. SAS's call sometimes enjoys the attendance of the occasional Australian, which is easier to imagine when it's noon in Sydney than it is for Europeans attending when it's well past midnight in Paris. However, time zone differences aren't the only reason why some folks hope we have a regular call. There have frequently been debates between the cardinal camp, folks that like approval voting, range or score voting, and star voting, and the ordinal camp, folks that advocate for systems that work best with ranked ballots, like instant runoff voting and Condorcet methods. Many folks in these two camps are deeply disrespectful of folks of the opposite camp, which is something that might get incrementally better if the two camps have mutually respectful discussions with one another on a regular basis. If you would like to join this January call, slated for Wednesday, January 21st at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, please RSVP to me, and I will add you to the meeting invitation. Section 2, the Reddit FPTP update. This is a very active forum discussing electoral reform, and frequent posters come from all corners of the reform movement. Below are some of the posts in End FPTP. Note bene, this is a mostly unedited collection of posts pulled from Reddit using a vibe-coded script, along with some haphazard manual collection and adaptation to the MediaWiki format. There are likely gaps in coverage due to when and how I ran this script, so buyer beware. On December 30th, user Karmix _ many times posted the question, linear cardinal multi-winner methods, which was more of a question than a statement. December 28th, post titled, quote, I built an agent-based model in Python to simulate how electoral systems influence separatism and civil war risk. Here are the results. Parenthetically, I need you to find the reason for close PRSTV. This was posted by Mercury Germs on December 28th. On December 23rd, a post titled Idea Lazy MMP was posted by user Additional Kick 307. On December 22nd, a post titled Idea, a framework to convert any single winner method into PR, was posted by NoVast7006. And on December 19th, a post titled Fairness of STV When Parties Run Multiple Candidates was posted by Ravencrowed. On December 17th, a post titled "My Framework for Electoral Design, Internalize Political Externalities" was posted by Previous Word 3517. On December 12th, a post titled "Utah SD 11 Special Approval Voting Results" was posted by iBoz91. This particular post was about the use of approval voting in Utah. That was kind of a big deal in the community, and there was much comment. On December 11th, there was a post titled "From Texas Gridlock to Utah's Blueprint, A Tale of Two States and Redistricting Reform" was posted by I Like Neurons. And that was essentially a press release from the Center for Election Science about Utah. On December 10th, a post titled "Expert Committees Purged by Low Voter Turnout" was posted by user Agitades. I don't know. There was not much engagement on that particular post. On December 10th, a post titled "Condorcet Cycle in the Wild, 2021 Minneapolis City Council Ward 2" was posted by user Antagonist, linking to a visual representation of that election, and that received a pretty high score and a lot of comments. On December 10th, also, there was a post asking the question, "Is there a better way to market Condorcet IRV hybrids than just saying Condorcet IRV?" Posted by Sid the Shuckle, and I don't know what the answer to that was. Also on December 10th, there was a video posted by Samson Occam titled "Schwarzenegger Blasts Redistricting War," presumably about what's happening here in California, though I'm not sure. On December 9th, a post titled "Shaky Political Science," in air quotes, "Misses the Mark on Ranked Choice Voting," was posted by Democracy Works 1776. This was a post that was this was a posting of a blog post by Fair Vote co-founder Stephen Hill and Paul Hahi about advocating for RCV and accusing opponents of RCV of not engaging in science. On December 6th, there was a post titled "Economist article on FPTP, Britain's Slot Machine Politics." That was posted by user Dystopian or Dystopia Ian, and received a few comments. On December 4th, a post titled "Score Then Automatic Runoff, Star voting used for the first time in election for public office to elect Astoria City Council member," posted by Stunning Walrus 6276. On December 3rd, post titled "Ranked Choice Voting Outperforms the Winner-Take-All System Used to Elect Nearly Every U.S. Politician," was posted by 12-Pound Turkey, and got a very high score of 139, and also received 138 comments. On December 3rd as well, there was a post titled, "How do I refute the argument that Arrow's impossibility theorem and the Gibbard-Satterthwaite theorem prove electoral systems are the, quote, worst systems?" System. And that was posted by NoVast7006. And that wraps up all of the end FPTP posts from December. Moving on to the voting theory forum, which is a popular watering hole for many folks in electoral reform. You can find that website at votingtheory.org. The activity on this website seems to have simmered down from its early days in 2020 and 2021, but there are still frequently notable discussions here, so we should keep an eye on that. Moving on to section 4, this is the organizational updates. This new newsletter intends to track the major electoral reform organizations, and the Center for Election Science is certainly one of those. CES is focused on approval voting as their preferred method, but they support other reforms. One can presumably follow the latest things going on with them by following them on x.com, Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, or by consulting their news feed. You can find out more about Center for Election Science at electionscience.org, and they highlighted several pieces of news in there during the call that we had, the Electorama call that we had earlier this month. In Colorado, Manny Rutinel, who is a current member of the Colorado State Congress, is running as a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, and explicitly and publicly supports approval voting. He listed under the Stopping Corruption section of his official campaign website, and so you can find more there about that little tidbit. In Maryland, the legislature who introduced approval voting legislation there is reintroducing that legislation for 2026. In Utah, Center for Election Science highlighted the use of approval voting, and as noted earlier, and also the NAACP has a call for voting reform that includes RCV and IRV, but also approval voting, and the URL can be found for that endorsement of those two methods can be found from the print newsletter, or rather the wiki newsletter on electowiki.org. Section 5, Fair Vote. If we're going to talk about big organizations, we of course have to talk about Fair Vote. They also have an x.com profile and a newsroom of sorts, from which the latest thing as of December 15th is an editorial about gerrymandering, and asserts, quote, "We can end gerrymandering, we can create a nation where every district is a swing district." The URL for that organization is fairvote.org. Now on to Section 6, which is the Equal Vote Coalition and Star Action. Lump those two together. The big news for the Equal Vote Coalition is the news from Astoria. And as noted earlier, using that for selecting a representative, they've launched a couple of websites for conducting online polls and doing analysis. BetterVoting.com is one of the websites, and realrcv.equal.vote is another one of the websites. But you can find Equal Vote's website at equal.vote. And if you want to learn more about star voting specifically, you can go to starvoting.org. Now on to Section 7, Better Choices for Democracy. This is a new organization that officially launched in November 2005. They are focused on Condorcet methods, specifically what they call consensus choice voting. The latest news from the BCD newsroom is a video editorial from University of Maryland professor Eric Paquet titled Consensus Choice Explained, Head-to-Head Voting versus Plurality versus Ranked Choice. They also have a new web app for conducting online polls, which is for which the link can be found in the wiki version of the newsletter, and you can learn more about Better Choices for Democracy at their website, betterchoices.vote. Now on to Section 8. There's been a lot of editing happening. As every month, there's been a lot of editing happening on election method articles and adjacent articles on English Wikipedia. Here are a few feeds that one can look at for some of the latest changes, and you'll find those in the newsletter online. Section 9 is about Electorama, ElectoWiki, the election methods mailing list, the election software mailing list, and the ABIF format. ElectoWiki is still the most prominent wiki associated with electoral reform that I know about, other than English Wikipedia. Using or looking at the recent changes for ElectoWiki in December, it seems that both me and Dr. Keith Edmonds, were the most active editors. For example, the sequentially shrinking quota article there back in November. User Christomun and and Dr. Edmonds were among the most active, other than RobLa. Myself, with changes to sequentially spent score and the Kotze Perea transformation article, among others. Also, user Rod Crosby resumed their work on the QPR2 article. You can find links to all of that stuff on the electowiki.org version of the newsletter. There were several threads, several active threads on the EM list, including promotion of the ElectoramaNews and the Electorama Call. Also, a discussion about a website doing classical music countdown, and East Coast radio station, well, specifically New York City, WQXR was had posted something about countdown balloting. Addition to that, there was a Christopher Menserhelm posted a post titled "An Unusual Absolving PR Method," for which there was a couple of responses, and also Christopher posted a quick and dirty strength of victory measure for LIIA methods, where LIIA methods are local independence of irrelevant alternatives methods. And so you can find more of the links to all of that stuff on the electowiki.org version of the newsletter. Activity on ABIF and ABIF tool has been relatively quiet, but there has been a little bit of performance work on the website. Moving on to Section 10, which is the miscellaneous potpourri of additional items that I did not find time to organize. A couple of orgs that are not listed above that I should just mention, which is the Secure Internet Voting Organization, which you can find more about at siv.org, as well as the Respect Voters Coalition at respectvoters.org. And There are links to the following: Robert Bristow Johnson's submitted paper to the constitutional political economy. There's also a one-page primer with talking points on precinct summability. There is a link to a 2022 letter to Governor Phil Scott of Vermont about legislation in Vermont and electoral reform legislation in Vermont, and then there was a link to templates for plausible legislative language implementing ranked choice voting. There's a link to a 2004 Scientific America article by Partha Dasgupta and Eric Maskin. The article is titled The Fairest Vote of All. There's also articles regarding the Alaska RCV election in August 2022 that suffered a similar majority failure to the 2009 Burlington result. There was an article, there was mention of Benham's method on our call, and then there's also a link to the tabled bill in Vermont regarding Condorcet voting. And so that is everything. So ElectoramaNews is going to be a monthly publication. Next month's edition will be drafted publicly. If you wish to suggest changes or additions to the publication, please contact me, or better yet, sign up for an ElectoWiki account and make the changes you would like to see prior to publication. Thank you for your time.